Lady Luck is smiling.
Pharaoh here with League Top 10, and this week I'll be doing a beginner's guide to Twisted Fate, the Cardmaster. Cardmaster is currently considered one of the strongest champions in the game because of his obscene lane control, map control, and gank potential. While this champion is a little intimidating to learn for new players, mastering Cardmaster is key to your team's success, and unlocking his potential can lead to a truly devastating force in any game. It's worth noting that in his current incarnation, Cardmaster is a universal ban in competitive play. Okay, so as far as pregame stuff, Flash is pretty much mandatory. People learn really quickly not to stand near you, and if you want to kill during your laning phase, you're going to need this, and trust me, you want kills. Your second summoner skill is more tailored to you, but I recommend something aggressive. Something like Exhaust or Ignite, but never pick up Teleport. I recommend a standard caster build of 9021 for your masteries, with improved exhaust, improved flash, and the 15% magic penetration out of the offensive tree. All of these come in really handy. With runes released, I'll go ahead and give a nod and say that I use health per level in yellows, armor penetration and crit chance in reds, and mana regen per 5 per level in blues. Quints can be either health, run speed, or armor penetration. There's really no bad option here. Alright, we're going to try and get through his abilities a little quickly for the sake of time, but we're going to go into the finer points of two of his abilities a little later. His passive is rather boring, but extremely beneficial. It's a team-wide increase in critical strike chance. Wild Cards is your bread and butter, a skill shot nuke that shoots 3 cards out at different angles. It's got a low cooldown, low mana cost, decent AP scaling, which makes it amazing to harass with. Pick a card is how everyone's going to judge your worth as a card master. Pick a card flashes different color cards above your head, and when you press the button again it locks that color and applies a special effect to your next attack. Blue increases your damage and can be dodged. Reds are an AoE snare and a moderate increase in damage and can still be dodged. Gold cards can't be dodged, apply an AoE stun, and deal high single target and AoE damage. Gate is a moderate to low cooldown teleport with a 3-second channel that can take you anywhere on the map. Destiny is the bow on the Cardmaster package. It's a global snare that reveals all enemy champions, including those stealth ones like Eve, Shaco, and Twitch, and it halves the channel on your gate. You should use Destiny to gank junglers, to chase stragglers, to initiate team fights, to run, and even to gank defensively. Keep in mind that using Destiny reveals your position to the enemy team, so try not to get killed with it. Okay, so this is the part of the guide where I try and teach you to pull gold cards. So for this exercise, you're going to go ahead and watch the animation while listening to me talk. Now you want to pull a gold card every time there's an enemy champion on screen, because gold cards are simply superior to red cards. Everything a red card can do, a gold card can do better, so there's no reason to pull a red card. Blue cards have their place at killing towers. It's pretty much all they're good for. Pulling a blue card lets you pull another card, and each pull procs your Sheen or Lichbane. So chain pulling blue cards on a tower with one of those items lets you level it pretty quickly given some time on it. 1, 2, click. 1, 2, click. That's enough of that. It's time for the laning phase. For your starter items, you're going to want a Sapphire Crystal and 2 health potions. Twisted Fate's ability to burst down anybody with a Lichbane and a small level advantage is something you shouldn't ignore. So I'm going to go so far to say as Twisted Fate is the single best solo in the game. If you're not a fan of the solo lane, Twisted Fate can be used to babysit, but putting him with someone who has a stun or a knockback or a pull is going to make an extremely easy laning phase and give you complete domination. Pick a card first, and you're going to be using it defensively for a little bit, mostly just hitting your counterpart every time they try and last hit a creep. Level up wild cards over pick a card, with the main reason being that people learn really fast not to stand near you with a gold card, so wild cards is really the only way to do any harassment. Don't throw a wild card until it's level 2, and then just use it to whittle away at your opponent. When you see them low enough, flash in with a gold card and wild card them, then get a couple of auto attacks. This usually nets you a kill. If you catch them trying to blue pill, make sure you interrupt them with wild cards because the range is completely ridiculous. You want to point in gate at level 4 for easy fountain trips, and other than that, wild cards over pick a card, and take Destiny every time it's up. You should net yourself a kill in your lane, or at least be severely out-leveling them, because your wildcard range lets you push them way out of experience range. If you're level 6 with about 850 gold, I recommend blue pilling and purchasing your Sheen. Pick up boots if you have the money for it, but you don't have to wait for them. Communicate with your lane mates to go to a vulnerable lane, lock a gold card in the fountain, Destiny, and then gate directly behind them. Keep in mind your auto attack damage is almost negligible, so prioritize positioning for your second gold card over auto attacking, assuming they live through your initial gold card wild card combo. This usually results in a double kill, as the gold card is an AoE stun. From here you need to look back at middle lane. If your counterpart is taking your tower, you need to get back there. In most cases, he won't be, and you can aid your allies in taking their tower. Use your wildcards to hit the creeps as they come in single file, and this takes a little bit of practice, but when it's done right, it gives your allies a lot more time on the tower. You should spam pull your blue cards when you're auto-attacking the tower, because your Sheen proc helps completely destroy it. You'd actually be amazed how quickly a tower drops if you do this right. Continue this combination of ganking and pushing lanes until your gate is back off cooldown. You may be low on mana, and that's fine. This build makes a liberal use of gate and the fountain to replace any mana regen, but you're gonna need to be a little conservative at times. You should have enough money for a solid pair of boots, and the pair you buy should depend entirely on the enemy team. To recap, any crowd control and you want Mercury Treads, no crowd control you want Sorcerer's Shoes. Build up for your Soul Stealer, but remember you need to have decent boots at this time. Gank when Destiny is up if you see someone vulnerable, and stick with your team for team fights. You should start taking more ranks in Gate around level 12, because it gives you greatly increased map mobility. Remember, the more ranks in Gate you get, the closer you get to being everywhere at once. If you find yourself in a particularly compromising position, you want to make sure your Destiny and Gate are both up. Should an enemy team try and gank you, you should quickly tally the number of stuns and silences your opponents have while waiting for your gold card. Blow Destiny, hit them with the gold card, then gate to safety by clicking someplace in your base through your minimap. The number of reckless cardmasters this has saved is almost disgusting. Twisted Fate's role in team fights has one of the highest skill thresholds out of all of the champions. Your value can be summed up by the number of gold cards you pull during the actual team fight. Red cards during team fights can be directly traced to entire game losses. During the pre-team fight standoff, if you think you've caught someone off guard, use Destiny to be sure. This will give you a proper bearing on the situation by revealing all of your opponents and applying a sizable slow that may mess up their formation for team fights. Oftentimes, this can be the difference between a victory and a loss. Try and hit as many people as possible with your wild cards, and remember that until you have Lichbane, you should stay out of auto attack range. Twisted Fate is incredibly squishy, and his positioning is his only real defense. Once you've hit late game, you should have enough points in Gate to start showing your true power. Map control. Gate to a lane and wild cards down 2 waves, then gate to another lane. You can push every single lane at once and be at every team fight. Just remember not to push alone without your defenses up. That is, Destiny and Gate. People tend to underestimate the power of controlling the map in its entirety. That is, before they win a team fight and realize that they can't push because they have to defend every single lane or lose their base. Your Lichbane should be finished at this stage, so you should be working towards either a Void Staff if you're feeling safe, or a Guardians if they have it out for you. Twisted Fate is particularly good at stealing Nashor because of his AoE stun, wild cards, Lichbane auto attack combo. Beware that using Destiny will let them know what you're trying to do, so make sure you have sight wards placed at the worm beforehand. This has been Pharaoh. Thank you for watching my beginner's guide to Twisted Fate, and remember, don't build in melee because of the pick a card bug.